Hello, Maddie here. It's been 2 weeks since I've seen you last. Thank you so much for your patience and your willingness to come back after that time. Today I'm going to be talking about the Traitor Kiss series. This series came out a few years ago, actually. I read it for the first time in Florida one summer. And when I read it, there was only one book, and there are now 3 books. And I'm going to mainly talk about the first book because I'm going to make the assumption that you have not read any of them, because if you've read the first one, you might be interested in reading the second and third. If you haven't read the first one, why do you need to know about the second and third when you don't even know what the first one's about? And with series, the first one, it does lay a lot of groundwork in terms of characters, setting, kind of overall conflict, things like that. So the first book is really, really important. If an author can't do a good job laying that groundwork, then it doesn't really matter how good the writing is if it doesn't have a good base. So the Traitor's Kiss, it takes place in this other fantasy realm. I don't really think there's magic, but it's like olden days with big poofy dresses and knights and things like that. But it's not set in our world. It's about this girl named Sage, who is basically a matchmaker's assistant. And it's her going with a group of girls there's like an event once a year, kind of like a pageant sort of thing, where there's like lots of matchmaking couples happen, kind of like the season. During the 1900s, you'd go to the city for like the season to be presented, whatever. It's kind of like that, but it's more of like one big event instead of a season of events. And so she is accompanying them because there is conflict within the country of one family thinking they should be the rulers of the country and another family who are the rulers of the country. And the family that thinks they should be the rulers of the country are, really evil and awful, terrible people. Now, why is this book good? Why is it interesting? Why is it worth reading? It's funny how you can twist things around and make the same thing sound 2 different ways. Example, I'm not a big fan of lying in books or movies or shows or any story of any kind. It stresses me out because lies are always found out. So just don't lie because they're going to find out, and it's going to be awful, and it's going to be terrible. And on the other side, I really love anonymity. And you could almost call that as a form of lying. One of my favorite books. The guy knows who the girl is, the girl doesn't know who the guy is, and the guy won't tell her. And that could be seen as a lie. And this is it's a mixture between those 2 things is kind of what happens in this book. I don't want to give it away because I did not know what was going on until I got to the end of the book, and I was like, what? I'm so confused. And I had to go back and read certain passages to remember things that had happened, especially between the 2 main characters. And I was like, wait, I'm so confused. But it's so good. It's so good. And at the end you realize it's lying, you don't really realize it while you're reading, and it all ends up okay. So I don't know. I think it's worth it. I really, really enjoy it. It also only has that kind of plot in the first book. The second and third do not have those plot lines in them. So I really, really like this book. And this series, as you can see there, they are these 3 books right here, the blue, pink, and gold. They are some of the prettiest books that I own. I really, really need to buy the first book in hardback because I just want it because it's pretty. So that's a book that I need to buy. It's on my list. But I highly recommend it if you're looking for a series. As a person who does not like series very much, I find them to be a little bit tedious. I have a hard time maybe kind of getting through the first book or so to really, really enjoy the story. Because like I said, the first book lays a lot of groundwork. It's very, very important. You can't just skim through it and hope you know what goes on in the next book when the action starts to pick up. So I don't often recommend series. I don't read series very often. I especially don't read series if they haven't been completed. That's a whole thing. We'll go off in a second. But as a self-proclaimed non-series lover, this is a really great series. I really, really enjoy it. Each book is so different, and I really appreciate that. It has the same characters and the same overarching plot, which is awesome. But each story, it really is different. It's not just the same book regurgitated 3 different times. It's the same characters, but it's them going through this conflict and different portions of it to get to a resolution at the end of the last book. It's really cool. It's really interesting. I really love my main characters. I do. I really, really do. I like it because, yes, it's cute and fluffy, but it has, honestly, quite a bit of action and intrigue. It has not just, mindless battle, but there's like lots of battle planning and how are we going to make this work with the resources that we have, and how are we going to, persist? How are we going to come out on top? And I really like that. I find it very interesting. They use lots of different, maneuvers and strategies to win throughout this conflict. And it's really interesting. A lot of my books are just really cute. This one's really cute, but it's also really interesting to read. It's really fun to kind of get the picture in your head, the image that they're creating of some of these battles. It's really, really cool because they change scenery. So like some of them are like forests, some of them are like in buildings, some of them are like on dunes, and like it's really cool because they're not the same. None of the books are the same. They are all definitely different. They're all definitely like a continuation of the story with your characters, but they are not the same book. They're all very different. So I highly, highly recommend them. I do genuinely really enjoy them. It has one glaring flaw. In every single book, towards the end, so you don't actually know what's going to happen, one of the main side characters dies. You never know who it's going to be. You never know how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. When it happened in the second book, I was like, is this going to be a trend? So I was reading the entire 3rd book, waiting for it to happen, and it happened. And I was like, it's a trend. It's like your mark as an author, apparently, is that you have to kill off somebody, not a main character, but somebody that we all were really attached to. So, that is this series' one main flaw. And I love the first book so much. I've read it at least 3 times. The first time I read it, and then as each book came out, because when I first read it, the last books had not come out yet. So I've read it at least 3 times. But now that I've read them all, I have a really hard time picking them back up, knowing that this character is going to die. And it's like this deterrent, and I'm like, what if I read the book but just like skipped over that scene? But as we know, I'm also very emotionally invested in my books and my characters, almost to an unhealthy level. Most people, I would say the average reader, can probably read this and be totally fine. Like, yeah, you're going to be sad because somebody dies, but you're not going to be not wanting to read it because of it the way that I am. But that's just because of who I am as a person and how I take in the world. So I'd highly recommend these books. They are also, like I said, so pretty. I mean, it makes you want to pick them up. And I think that's honestly really clever and really smart of an author to have a cover that's so pretty and so eye-grabbing that you want to pick it up, and then making the whole series just really, really beautiful. So that's the book that I am talking about this week. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you pick that up. That would be awesome. But I wanted to quick mention why I don't read series very much, and, well, why I don't like to read series that haven't all come out. It's the same reason I don't like to watch TV shows that haven't finished. Because watching a show that, like gets canceled, it's the worst. It's awful. And reading books that takes forever to get the next book out is the worst. And I think it was 2019, I started reading a series called The Strange House. It's a set of 5 books. All the books are about different girls in this kind of orphanage, strange girl house thing. They're girls that just don't fit into society. But I don't think they're orphans, actually. But it's called The Strange House. And they're really good. Each book, like I said, is about a different girl, but set in the same setting with the same conflict, things like that. It's really, really interesting. I really, really enjoyed them because all of the girls are just so different in their strangeness. And I got to the 4th book, and the 5th book didn't even have a name yet in 2019. And so periodically I check in, and when I was thinking about this video, I was like, I think I'm going to talk about a series. Let's talk about a series. I was like, what series have I not already written a blog on? And you'll see I have the Queen's Rising series behind me. I was going to compare the two, but at least for this video, I don't think it's necessary. If you're at all interested in that series, it's very, very good. Super enjoy it. I do have a blog about it that I will link below. Talking about that book is funny because my little sister, she's like, that has all these plot holes. And I'm like, I didn't notice any of that until you said that. I can very much not see all the plot holes and just enjoy a book or a movie or whatever. I'm, willful ignorance. Anyways, with The Strange House, 4 years ago, when I read the first 4, the 5th book was in no way out yet. It didn't have a name, didn't have a date, didn't have a cover, didn't have anything. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I'd periodically check up on it. And when I was doing this video, I said I wanted to do series. I was like, let's just see. Is it coming out? It's like, if it's coming out, maybe it'd be, a good one to talk about or whatever. And it is coming out, but not until June. So I'm hoping to reread the first 4 books before then, and then read the 5th book, and then probably do a video/blog on them then. Don't hold me to that. That might not happen. It'll probably happen eventually. I don't know if it'll happen this summer. It just depends on my reading flow, because sometimes I can read like a lot all at once, and sometimes I'll go a little bit of time but without reading. It just kind of depends on like my energy level and mental capacity, things like that. But rereads are a lot easier, and I have read all of those books already. So that's today's book. That's why I don't like series, and my multiple reasons for not liking series, and why I will more often than not talk about series, because I just don't read them very often. But I'm currently reading a series. It's a trilogy. I'm not going to tell you which one because I don't need opinions on it yet. I know there are lots of opinions on this trilogy, and I will, if I like it, or if I really like it, or if I really dislike it, you'll get a video on it. If it falls somewhere in the middle, it'll be a comment on the side of a video, just be like, oh yeah, this happened. I'm currently reading the first book. I'm only like a third of the way through the first book. And I'm just remembering why I don't like series, because it's so much groundwork laying. I'm trying to figure out who's the love interest. Is this going to be a love triangle? Is this person good? Is this person bad? Is this going to be your best friend for the book? Or is this person actually have bad motives? Or is this person going to be your best friend for the book? But they kind of don't seem nice, so I'm not sure. And I just want to know who I need to be invested in and who I should be wary of. But I have to read the book to do that. You get to the end of, especially the first book of a series, usually with more questions than answers. You get to the end of the second book, and it's probably somewhere around 50-50 questions and answers. And by the time you get to the third book, assuming it's a trilogy, ideally you will have all of the answers by the end of the final book. The first book is not that way, and I'm just trying to get through it because I am really enjoying it. I am really enjoying it, but I just need to get through it. It's like with the really good shows, you kind of have to get through the first season because they're usually not very good, but then it picks up after that. I think it's going to be like that, which is fine. It's just work that I don't want to put in. Well, I do, because it's so rewarding at the end of it. Getting this story and these characters in your life is so awesome and wonderful. It's just a lot of work to get them there. You have to be willing to get to know them, their circumstances, their personalities, all these things. You have to put in the work. But it's worth it. Usually. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is I cut my hair. If you didn't already notice, it's like 8 inches shorter than it was last time. I really like growing my hair out and chopping it off and not telling anybody. So that way I just show up with chopped off hair. I actually did this. So at my wedding, I had a little bit longer hair and in Arkansas. And then a month later, we had a reception in Arlington where my parents lived so that more people could attend that couldn't drive all the way to Arkansas. And I chopped my hair off right before the reception. So at the reception, it was like, your hair! Because like I put on my wedding dress and everything, and we did, a reception. And the shock value was a lot of fun. I like shocking people, but in like appropriate ways. I'm not going to go do something crazy. Well, not too crazy. Or irreversible, usually. making myself sound way more interesting than I actually am. But anyways, I like to shock people in an appropriate way. I think that is a fair thing to say. Shock people in an appropriate way, like chopping all my hair off and not telling them, because it's a lot of fun. And I was like, why not? Why not just do it? Because you can. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on series. I would love to know your thoughts on series. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Why do you like them? Why don't you like them? If you have a favorite, let me know. If you have a least favorite, I would also love to know, because I have some series that I have not liked. I wrote a blog on series that burned me, if you're at all interested. I also have a blog on series that are awesome. I'll link both of them below if you're at all interested. If you made it to this part of the video, I'd really, really appreciate it if you would subscribe, if you would like, if you would comment. All those things are really wonderful. They're really, more than anything, just really, really encouraging to me. If you have, especially if you have a video that you really, really liked, liking it is just really, really helpful for me to understand what kind of content to create going forward. So viewing, liking, commenting, all those things really, really help, not just for the channel, but also for me to understand what you guys like, because I would like to create videos that I enjoy making, but I'd also like to create videos you enjoy consuming. It's kind of the point. So I want to go take a nap. With all of that, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great night, a great week, great weekend, great month, great year. I hope you have all the greats, because you're truly worthy and deserving of them. So until next time, bye.